Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to yet again another review for a Steven Seagal film. And apparently a good man. Pretty ironic. Funny. Apparently this is a prequel to the last film I reviewed, Force of Execution. At least that's what I read up. I guess this took place before that film where his character has a goatee and he was this crime lord, and at the end of the film he said he's retired. And for some reason that same character of John Alexander was such a great character that he needed not one but two more movies, because there's another movie not after this but like I think after that one called Absolution. Yeah, the character John Alexander. This is a character I guess he's played the fucking most, because he's played it 3 times. More than Casey Ryback. Which, I know there's talks of Under Siege 3, please no. Above the Law 2, please no. It's just ironic that that's the character he's played the, well, if you don't count a TV show, like True Justice or himself in Lawman. But movie-wise, the character he's played the most is John Alexander in 3 films that no one has fucking seen except uh, a guy named Fabio and a guy like me. The Italian Stallion 51 and Rambo Ran for Life were like the 2 people that saw these, all 3 of these movies. I'll get to Absolution, but Force of Execution, yeah, I gave it not even a pass. It was a mild rant because it wasn't as shitty as Attack Force or fucking Today You Die and all that shit. It's not saying much. But Force of Execution, at least the lead guy, I liked his martial arts more. And Ving Rhames, even though he's given nothing to do, it was cool to see Ving Rhames. And yeah, I thought the beginning and ending were kind of alright. Here, I didn't care for a fucking thing. It's Steven Seagal with his goatee playing John Alexander again from Force of Execution. Again, I guess this is a prequel to that. And they're trying to get this guy who finances terrorist activities, and Seagal has a team, and he's saying lines like, "You think you got more pussy than Osama bin Laden?" And they're trying to kill a guy named Abu Normal. Abu Normal. I'm not making that up. He's the guy they're going after is Abu Normal. You might as well be Abby Normal. To steal from Young Frankenstein, why not? Abu Normal. And Seagal doesn't believe the intel. Him and this other guy, they roam around this building. Seagal knocks some guys out with his gun. He also carries a fucking sword, so he's a soldier out in the field against terrorists. But he also carries a fucking sword in his back that he pulls out from time to time. Kills one guy with it. At times you do get some shitty CGI blood, more in the 3rd act than this. So, kills a guy to be quiet. The terrorist is left, and also this guy, who we later find out is Mr. Chin, who's an arms dealer. They're both gone. And Seagal tries to call off an airstrike. And Seagal shoots at a car and is able to shoot the terrorist. I don't even think we see the terrorist face that they're going for. If they did, I certainly don't fucking remember it. I just got done watching the damn movie. In fact, I have it right here. If you wonder why I have it, this is when I was on a spree years and years ago purchasing Steven Seagal films, because I'm like, hey, I like Above the Law and Out for Justice. I wonder what his later films are like. Waiting for the day, and today's the fucking day. Well, not today, but this month, because I've been pre-recording stuff. So it may look like I've been uploading this in the past 2 weeks, but believe me, I've been watching it for longer. It just there's so many I had to, and I don't have all the time in the world. So I had a so I've been his early stuff is cool, but his direct-to-video stuff, most 99% of them are hellish. And this isn't even the worst of it. It's mediocre at best, but it's just. Anyway, getting back to it, he kills the terrorist, but the arms dealer gets away because he's going to be the villain later on in the movie. Mr. Chen, I believe. And it's played by the actor who was Consul Han in the Rush Hour films, mainly 1 and Rush Hour 1 and 3. Consul Han, whose daughter was kidnapped and they have to go rescue her. That guy's the villain in this movie that you see later on in the flick, more so. But anyway, Seagal tries to call off the airstrike. They can't do it. He gets this girl. They go out. Explosion. The girl has died. Seagal is hurt. He's talking about his right side. But if he's injured, that never goes to any effect later in the film. And some other women and children died in there. It says on Wikipedia that his entire team died. I don't know where they got that. For what I remember, his buddy was with them. It was just him and his buddy there, and I don't remember his team dying. I remember a bunch of women and children dying in the house, the sort of abandoned building, and it's not much to it. It's pretty much Seagal and this guy just going around, hitting a guy, going around, get a fucking sword. They just happens to carry out on the field, going around, and it just didn't really do much for me. I mean, Sally's the best part of the movie, but I didn't even think it was. That's something I've seen so many fucking times, so many movies that just. Grant, you just say that for 50 million things. That's not really a good point to make. You just say everything's been done, but it's just nothing that exciting or memorable or, ooh, that was cool, or just really nothing that you haven't. It's just like, sort of that reaction. Anyways, 2 years later, he lives in an apartment complex. He's a handyman. There's a woman and her sister, and the woman is like 20 some years old. The little girl, her sister is like, I don't know, 10 years old, 12 years old. And he helps them out to get into their room. And apparently, they have a brother who works for collection at this for these Russian guys, the mafia guys. And he works to gather protection money. And the reason he's doing that is because apparently he wants his family protected and he wants to work off a debt that his father had. And by the way, this other guy, who is the brother, he's more of the lead character than Seagal. It's like they're trying to be like Force of Execution, where it was Seagal and the Foster guy, who was also in this film. What was his name? Bren Foster. That was Force of Execution, and Seagal, as if they were trying to be co-stars. Kinda. Here is sort of the same thing, where Seagal's in it beginning and end, and in it sporadically throughout the middle. And I could kinda deal with it in Force of Execution because I like the guy's martial arts more, but again, I can't say I liked it. That's why it was a rant, well, a mild rant. Here, I don't really give much a fuck about this guy. It's not that I thought he was a horrible actor. It's just I was indifferent. I was so indifferent that I'm like, I just would rather be watching a dozen upon a dozen other movies. And I can't say it's good or bad. It was just extremely indifferent to this character or to his ploy, or that he wants to protect his older and younger sister and work off his father's debt. I just didn't give a shit. And also, you have little side characters like these two cops that see these dead bodies of these Russian gang members, that there's Chinese symbols and incense next to the bodies, and later you find out it's Seagal's been doing this. And you find out what Seagal's been doing. He's been chasing this Mr. Chin, this arms dealer, around, killing guys who works for him, so Mr. Chin will come out of hiding. And He's the Guilo, as he calls himself. They also do this weird thing. Once in a while, text, like subtitles, will pop up in red and like push into the camera. So you have two people talking. All of a sudden, I guess it's supposed to be an important sentence because all of a sudden this red text pops up. Like if I'm talking and I said, "Yeah, this movie kinda sucks," and then you see "kinda sucks," or "fuck kinda, it sucks." Say, "Hey, this movie fucking sucks," and the "fucking sucks" pops in red text to the screen, like to the side here or to the side here. That happens every once in a while. I'm like, I guess it's an artistic choice by Keoni Waxman, who's directed quite a few Seagal films. He's probably the director who's done the most Seagal movies. Was that him trying to be artsy fartsy? But yeah, it happens at random points in the movie. Seagal becomes friends with the older sister. He's at a club. I notice how many fucking times when I'm talking about Seagal movie, I talk about how Seagal's in a club. It's a very common theme. He's always in a club. Should just live in the club. Any club. A bar or a club. It's always a bar or a club. And this guy, who I swear he acts just like Tommy Wiseau from The Room, which I've only seen clips, I haven't seen the whole movie of that, but it looks at least hilariously bad. But this guy talks like Tommy Wiseau. He's like, "I want bitch to dance for me, so fuck you." or, or more like, "Oh hey Mark, I want bitch to dance for me, so fuck you." And Seagal just knocks the guy out, slams his head down. Really quick, not really a fight, but a quick ass whooping. Taking the woman home, tells her to go along. There's some assholes there. He fights and stabs him with a sword with some bits of bad CGI blood, and that's when he burns the incense. So he's kind of the vigilante of that sort. He's the guy who's writing the Chinese symbols and the incense by these dead bodies. But the bad guys find those guys dead, and they think it's the brother. The younger girl's brother, who's working for them. And the guy says, "I didn't do anything, what the hell?" And he gets almost killed at a phone booth. Then he does a little bit of fighting, beats these two guys up. So I think strangles one with a little bit of a phone cord and smashes one guy's head through the phone booth. The guy's little sister's taken, and the older sis is being talked to by bad guys, and Seagal comes in, fights two more guys. And the fight scenes are just really in one ear, out the other, handheld shaky cam. For the most part, I thought it was Seagal doing it. I didn't notice fight doubles. If there are, then I didn't notice them as easily as other films. But it just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just getting tired of Seagal's shtick and fighting, or it's just, it seems like I keep watching the same fucking thing, or just the way it's directed and the handheld, a little bit of shaky cam. It just really didn't do much for me. Any of the fight scenes in this, it literally was in one ear out the other. Like, okay, I mean, at least something's happening, but so what? And then the fucking brother character is taken by these cops for questioning. He gets knocked out. He's killing some guys. And you have like a full, it feels like, maybe it's not exactly, but it feels like 10, 15 minutes where it's just his movie. He's fighting these guys, getting some more fights with these other guys, rescues his older sister, and then we cut to Seagal, who's bringing this money in to get the younger sister. And Mr. Chin, the Council Han from Rush Hour 1 and 3, says, "Oh, well, the deal has changed." And Seagal goes, "Well, I thought you were a man of honor. Well, I'm the Guilo, and I'm going to kill all you." And the brother character finally gets there in time and shoots through the window. Seagal gets a little gunfight, gets the sword out, cuts the guy's hand off with really bad CGI blood. And I noticed one of the things that hurts CGI blood, I swear the CGI blood, before it falls off the screen, it disappears in the thin air. Which blood doesn't do that. blood doesn't disappear into thin air. You'll see blood on the floor. The blood will fall all the way through the camera. It won't like disappear when it gets this far away. Imagine the blood splurts out and then gets to right here. Before, you know, this spot here, when it gets there, it just disappears. That's one problem with CGI blood. The other, it looks like shit. And also, it didn't help when Seagal cuts this guy's hand off in some CGI blood. They slow it down, but they also slow the guy's scream down. So at first it goes, ah, and then they slow it down. You don't slow down screams because it looks laughable, silly shit. You can slow down fights, you can slow down gunfights, you can slow down explosions, you can slow down stunts, but do not slow down screaming. Because if I go, ah, or I go, ah, fuck, shit, fuck this, okay. But if I go, oh, shit, fuck that, ah, it looks stupid, silly, dumb as fuck. Don't do it. Has a little sword fight with one guy, a little back and forth, hits the guy in the head, slashes a little bit of his head. And then it's him versus Mr. Chin. Again, Council Han from Rush Hour 1 and 3. They get in a stance, they go at each other. Seagal does this, a quick bit of CGI blood flash, and he's dead. And everything's okay, and I guess the older sister is going to go with Seagal, and the younger sister is going to stay with her brother. And the movie ends with Seagal and this much younger woman getting ready to have sex. And then it's like this sweet music as if, hey, it's over, da da da. And then end credits. I'm like, you're ending it with Seagal almost getting into a sex scene? And I didn't even know he was really much with this woman. I mean, they show scenes of them talking, but not of being in love and let us fuck. So it is with a let us fuck scene. Uh, get her shirt off and Seagal kissing them going to the bed, and it ends with that. I'm like, that's scarier than anything in the movie. I, see, I keep doing this. If you notice, I've been kind of doing this in the past couple reviews because I swear it's like my brain is twitching from this fucking. It's like I have Segalathon, and you know what? Segalathon sounds like a fucking virus. I got a Segalathon. No, not a virus. It sounds like an STD. An STD. You got the Segalathon. What's that? You don't want it. It starts off well, but as it gets worse, you're ready to die. And this is past the fucking movie Today You Die. Seagal. I'm going off track. A good man. It's funny there's a tank in there, but there's no tank in the movie. And looks like a lot of snow or debris. The only explosion I remember is the beginning of the film. Same with the snow and Alps. People go, why don't you like this movie? It's dull, it's boring, it's slow, the fights aren't in one ear out the other. The other guy, I just didn't give a rat's ass one way or another. I didn't hate him, I didn't like him, I was extremely indifferent. The direction was subpar at best. It wasn't really even Seagal's film. It was more this other guy's film, and he wasn't really that interesting of a character. Well, neither was Seagal either. I mean, they both were not interesting. And if you're going in for fights, he did a couple little fights. You get a little bit of wandering around disabling bad guys at the beginning, and this abandoned building in the middle of nowhere, and you get a little bit of gunfire, and Hell, you get more of the other guy fighting than Seagal fighting. It's just one of those films that A Good Man, even the title's lame. A Good Man. It's one of those lame titles. We can't think of what the fuck to call this movie. He's good. He's a man. Okay, he's a good man. It, the title alone shows how lazy this film is. It literally is such a mediocre. Like, it's nothing outright bad a la Attack Force or Today You Die or Submerged or. But it's just so by the numbers, so there, so extremely dull that it's not even much to make fun of as a bad movie. It's just a dull, boring movie. There's nothing that sticks out. There's nothing. I didn't even find much bad dubbing, Seagal dubbing in the film, which I'm glad for that because I hate that shit. It's just Seagal, even though he's the number one guy on the call sheet, at times it feels like he is a supporting character in the film, much like Force of Execution. I think just Force of Execution, at least, again, the other guy, I liked his when he did his fight scenes. They were a little bit more fun to watch. This guy, he's all right at fighting. He's not a bad martial artist. It's just, eh. I mean, the story was dull and Russian gangsters and mafia, and he's a guy with a secret past, and there's really nothing to it. So I'll just keep blabbing on about the same thing if I don't stop it here. A good man, bullshit. A fat man, that's what you call it, a fat man. The Burger King man, you could call it that, but a good man, bullshit. So anyway, fuck this, and I still got more. Hell, he did 7 fucking movies. He was in 7 movies in 2016, so yeah, I definitely have some more to get to. But stay tuned for more reviews later.